Joe Rogan Podcast Live, Zuckerberg stirs controversy, discussing perfect bots, Hunter Biden and Metaverse. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, who oversees Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp and the Metaverse, made a surprise appearance as a guest on controversial podcast host Joe Rogan's latest show. Mr. Zuckerberg's 3-hour interview touched on a variety of subjects as he touted the potential of Metaverse, discussed his favorite hobbies, weighed in on Hunter Biden's laptop and revealed he doesn't have time for social media sites, despite having founded one of the world's largest. A standout moment came when he replied to a question on bot accounts and controversial content on social media platforms, saying he believes there weren't going to be perfect artificial intelligence systems. "I think it's all trade-offs all the way down," he said. Mr. Rogan has been a lightning rod since his Joe Rogan Experience, the world's most popular podcast, was bought by Spotify in a $100 million deal. Earlier this year, Rogan found himself at the center of controversy when he was accused of spreading COVID-19 misinformation and hosted a guest who claimed that Americans were hypnotized into wearing masks and getting vaccines. Mark Zuckerberg makes surprise appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. This is a live blog covering the Meta CEO's 3-hour appearance on Joe Rogan's Spotify podcast. Zuckerberg says new Metaverse equipment coming. The tech entrepreneur told Rogan that the new equipment was being released in October and that it would allow avatars to mimic users' facial expressions and allow avatars to make eye contact. Virtual reality really convinces your brain you are there. You have to convince your brain that this isn't real and that you are not actually there, he said. Fully immersive VR suit? "I think there will be opportunities to wear things to augment the experience further," said Zuckerberg, highlighting gloves the company is working on that will allow the user to feel objects. "But I want to design this where you do not need to do that. You don't want a setup where you have 10 pieces. Ultimately, people will want versions of this they can bring around, take on an airplane, in the office or in a coffee shop." Metaverse aiming for glasses, not VR headset. "You want them to be a normal-looking pair of glasses," he added, saying they were working on waveguide technology that could be made out of plastic or glass. He predicted that in 5 years they could be doing the interview using AI glasses and a hologram version of the Facebook boss would be talking to Rogan. "So few of the physical things we have in the world don't need to be physical. Chairs and food need to be physical, but most entertainment, like TVs, don't need to be physical. It will just be an app on your wall and you will snap your fingers and a hologram of a TV will appear." Zuckerberg admits he hates sitting at his desk. "I hate sitting in front of my desk. I feel that if I'm not active, I'm just wasting away," he said as he predicted that VR headsets could change fitness regimes and said he enjoyed playing boxing games. "My energy level and mood and how I interact with the world is based on, it's so physical. I don't believe we are just brains in a body, our physical being and actions we take there are as much of kind the experience of being human." Surfing during the pandemic in Kauai, Hawaii. "I spent a lot of time down in Kauai early on. I got really into surfing and hydrofoiling and I would get up early and go and do that and then be really refreshed for my day of meetings," he said. "That is not something I could do in Palo Alto." Zuckerberg says company spending $10 billion on research this year. "You go across all these things and at this incredibly wide amount of technology that needs to get built," he said. Zuckerberg says he does not have time for social media. He was asked by Rogan if he limited his time on social media, or if he controlled his children's access to it. "Me personally, I am just doing so many things that in practice that there are not enough hours in the day," he said. "My kids, I have not really had to think about it quite as much as they are pretty young, 6 and 5, so they use it. I want them to use technology for different things. I teach them how to code, it is an outlet of creativity. Max likes building things and Augie thinks of it as art. I try to do bedtime with them religiously each night. I ask them what activity they want to do, read, or wrestle, and Augie says she wants to do code art. She thinks of it as making the computer make art. It is good for them to get that exposure. Everything you are doing on a computer or screen is not the same. Are you engaging with someone, building relationships, or just consuming? If you are just sitting there and consuming stuff, it is not bad, but it is not associated with the benefits you get for actively engaging with people and building relationships. He added that he does a bunch of messaging but that he does not watch much TV as it puts him in a weird mental state. Zuckerberg says he wakes up to 1 million messages and it's usually not good. My sort of day is, you wake up in the morning, look at my phone, get 1 million messages that have come in, it's usually not good, he told Rogan. People reserve the good stuff to tell me in person, right? So it's like what's going on in the world that I need to pay attention to? So it's almost like every day you wake up you are punched in the stomach. Then it's like okay, well F***K, what do I need to do to go and reset myself and be productive and not stressed by this? How do I do that? I basically read, I take in all the information and then go and do something physical for an hour or two and reset myself. I used to run a lot, but the problem is you can think a lot when you are running. The last few years I have gotten into things that require full focus. Zuckerberg says that 3.5 billion people use Meta's platforms. He told Rogan that there is always stuff to work on and that he had to maintain control of his time, so he was not just reacting to things that people throw at me. You could spend all your time reacting to that, but what creates the ability to be successful long-term is carving out the time that is proactive, that is both taking care of yourself and being physical and getting out there and spending time with my family and my girls, he said.